ones, the
How
happy
dare
safe
they
habits,
interfere.
and they, yeah, you know, all that sort of stuff. Oh, nice, got thing. Yeah. No, the first day, no, one day in Scotland, he wore a kilt with like a poet's shirt, you know, not the suit thing like that. So she took a picture. She got number one, it's not
So
exactly
this is a
the
crashing wave on the beach.
photos.
Mhm.
It's from Europe. Uh-oh, so you couldn't
And
even
this
see-
underneath part in here,
Yeah.
I might wanna come back.
Yeah, and then, I got it. Coming through. Then the last day in Ireland. we got on the
So
bus
really, it's what you're coloring around it that shows it.
to
Mhm.
buy tickets
Yes.
for the entire
Okay.
busload
That's what's
to go
around it.
on the ferry from Ireland to Wales. The gals who bought
So I'm
tickets
revealing
were
the,
just in hysterics.
the look of the wave by,
He's only 24, 25, yeah.
and this might be a little too jaggedy.
In the
You know, if it's
reception
breaking
area.
over,
Well,
it
we
won't
all
be
took
quite so
pictures.
jaggedy.
Yeah.
And I can go, okay, well,
I said, hurry up, it's hot, I wanna get out.
let me lighten.
Okay.
And then here, it's
If I can
misty.
get this written, I think I will.
Ah, okay. Oh, that really does do it, doesn't it?
Off of the-
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the beauty of this eraser.
That's the kneaded eraser.
Right, and for the colored pencil, if you're trying to lift like that, the thing that's a little bit better than the kneaded eraser is the putty, the teacher's putty
Okay,
that they use in kindergarten
That
to
works
put the
better
things
than
up on the
that?
wall.
Yeah, I have
It's
some.
tackier.
Okay, all right.
It's much, you knead it, you can knead it just like the kneaded eraser,
Right,
but it's got much more tack to it than the eraser has.
okay.
So, you know, I can play with that a little bit to try and,
Carol, I might put this on. You okay with that if I do?
I don't care.
Okay.
You know, so now I've got, I mean, this is not necessarily recognizable to anybody looking at it
No.
as, this is a wave crashing.
Well, I could do, show this picture. Let me do this. This is, okay, this is the picture we're doing. And we're working on one little section to get the waves. Okay, I'm gonna go back, turn. Okay, I think I was trying to figure out how do you color white, you know?
You
And-
don't.
Yeah, obviously, but I didn't know how to handle that.
Is that what they call a negative space?
It would be if you're leaving the white of the paper, but with some media, with pencil, with pen and ink, with any of the transparent mediums. So it would be gouache, it would be watercolor. White is the white colored pencil.
Right.
White is the white of the paper.
Right, right.
I mean, do you ever use white? Yes, they now have a Chinese white and a titanium white. And Anne has used the gouache white.
So what about that white powder we got?
There are times you have to reclaim white, and then you go for whatever's gonna work.
Okay.
And it's because you lost the white.
Okay.
Not that you're
you-
trying to create the white, but you
it
lost
back.
the white and you're trying to get it back.
Okay, all right.
Now, she used in her seascape, wherever it is being framed, she did use the gouache, the white gouache paint, which is a water-based opaque paint.
Uh-huh.
And it's generally painted more like a paint chip and not graded like the watercolor is.
Mm-hmm.
And she mixed the white in with some other colors, and it gave an opacity to some of the other colors. You know, it made them more solid, and that, okay, I can't get lavender out of purple and watercolor. I add water and it's still lavender. It's still purple, it's not lavender.
Okay,
To make the purple lavender, you have to add white to it.
okay, okay, got it.
So sometimes you can't get from here to there without the addition of the white. So the white would modify a color that you're using and
Right.
make it more towards a pastel. The white in the colored pencil also is something that burnishes
Yeah,
or gives a smoothness to your pigment.
right, right.
But if you're trying to get, you know, one of the white flowers that Floyd has, oh no, you want to leave the white of the paper.
Yeah,
Now, when Tony's painting, she doesn't care. She decides at the very, she paints everything else and then paints the white flower last. Because she's using an opaque medium.
Right.
And her white flower goes on top and covers up anything that's underneath it.
right, right.
But for those of us other mortals, we need to look ahead and pre-plan. So which media people want to work with is often personality.
Uh-huh,
If you're into control, then you don't want watercolor. Pen and ink might be fine, pencil might be fine, but you're not going to want to use just watercolor.
yeah,
Because you
Well,
can't, you
look
don't,
at what Kay Hall does. She paints eyelashes on kangaroos with watercolor.
well, yes, you can be very detailed with watercolor. So watercolor doesn't necessarily mean loose.
Yeah.
It's just that in some instances you don't have as much control over it.
so you have to deal with what's there.
You have to deal with what it wants to do.
Yes, I hear you.
Whereas if you're dealing in oil pastels or acrylics,
Uh-huh,
then you're going from the back of the painting to the front. So you could paint the sky, you could paint the mountains, you could paint the entire sand area black or gray, and then come back and paint the white water on top.
uh-huh,
But if you're doing a transparent medium, which is the colored pencil,
yes,
it's probably semi-transparent, but it's in that family.
right,
Then you have to look at where the light areas are, where the whites are before you start.
okay,
So now I have a little section of a wave that is maybe not the most perfect wave in the world. And my rocks are not necessarily, you know, tremendously looking like a mountain. But I have maybe a little bit of a feeling of some surf
right.
coming in here.
Right now you have it turned to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, I've turned it back to me. And then we get to this really,
You need to just do it here. We don't have to go over much further than that.
so now I've got an area that's now the sand.
so this is the dark sand or black
Mhm.
sand or
This is
whatever that
the
is.
dark sand.
Yeah,
I have a mat cutter.
And it's soft, so I'm not using the point of my pencil. So that's another thing with the texture, is
Uh-huh.
the texture sharp or dull, you know?
Uh-huh.
And if it's soft, then you're not necessarily wanting to use the point.
right,
Now, this area is one of these areas that has some color to it. It's not as white as this.
uh-huh,
This has a little bit of color in it, and then here's a wave, and then this has a little bit of color in it.
uh-huh,
But it gets pretty light near the edge. So I need to come back and
I have this big heavy one at home.
reclaim.
mhm,
That one of those that's full of sand on the bottom. Yeah, make sure you've got it.
I like your cats, Carol.
I like it.
Huh?
I like your quilt cats.
Oh, thank you.
Did you put up a quilt?
No, I've got what I labeled as quilt cats.
Oh, okay.
It's cute.
They were fun to do. I did a series of drawings that were specific instructions for each drawing, 20
Well,
of
I
them.
thought I had gone
A
up
shape
on
within a
the
shape,
opening up
round,
kind of dictated
square,
Yeah.
big, little, and you had to draw something for each one of, and I decided to do the whole thing on cats.
Yeah.
So I've got all this laminated, big, full sheet of different cat pictures. And then I went back and picked one of them and did the greeting cards with them.
Oh.
And so the greeting card came from a hand-drawn cat
Uh-huh.
that I did, used a ruler,
Oh, yes, I've seen those. I love those, yes.
and then I went on the computer and at a pixel level,
Uh-huh.
straightened out the lines, and discovered that at that level, black is not black.
Is it a gray?
It's every shade of gray, browns, violets.
Interesting.
And so then I had to straighten the lines and make the lines all consistently
Well,
black.
it's-
Yeah.
So in my computer, I've got the templates of the outline or contour of the cats without any color.
Right, right.
Because I can drop whatever color I want into the collar
Yes,
or into the rest of the cat.
yes,
And a couple of the Christmas cats actually have a plaid collar.
yeah.
And I created the plaid in Paint Shop Pro.